Hello, it's Adedoyin Jaiyesimi here, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, I want to focus on those of you who have decided that you would like to work as a communications consultant and you just really need some help in terms of making your way, finding out what works for you. So, I'm just going to be sharing, as always, from my personal experience. I started out working as a consultant in 2016, and I did that for about 5 years. And then I made that transition to becoming a communications advisor. And you'd be like, what's the difference? So, as a consultant, I had a team and I actually had a consulting agency at the time. We're a team of four, and we did really, really great work within and outside of Nigeria. And then it wasn't even like a study break, but I went to do my master's. And it was while doing my master's that I said to myself, you know what, I want to be an advisor. So by the time I'd gone to school, I'd already like dissolved the business and my team. So I knew that I was going to be operating as myself and I wanted to do it as an advisor just by myself and pretty much just going to be sharing with you the things that I've learned, what I wish I had known before I had jumped into that river of consulting. And as always, I hope that you find it useful in your own journey. So, to start off with, do you want to be a freelancer or a consultant? And I've been on both sides. When I first started, I was call myself a freelancer. I started off as a writer, so I would be writing, editing as a freelancer. But as I grew in my career, so after that, I think I went into a 9 to 5, and then so my career is very interesting, in and out 9 to 5 consulting. But what I realized is that if you're a freelancer, nothing wrong with being a freelancer, but in terms of the communications and public relations space, I really believe that you will find it more valuable to position yourself as a consultant. But that consultant, this is not to just carry a title and not live up to that title. And that's what we'll be talking about, some of the things required. The real difference is that in terms of perception, there's a way that, I don't know, people just see freelancers as, they are here today, gone tomorrow. But it being a consultant comes with this connotation of expertise, which is why I said you can't just carry the title without living up to the expectation. So I've seen that in terms of remuneration, in terms of the access to certain kinds of opportunities and briefs, you're better off positioning yourself as a consultant because you may find it a bit more difficult if you position yourself as a communications or PR freelancer. And it's not that difficult to be a consultant, especially if you know that this is the path that you want to go on. It's really the kind of effort that you will put into a 9 to 5 career that you will put into it. But from a professional perspective, if you really, really want to be successful, I would just recommend positioning yourself as a consultant. So this then begs the question, who is a communications consultant? First of all, a communications consultant offers general or specialized services to a variety of clients. And so if you think about an agency, for example, an agency handles briefs from clients from different sectors and all. That's what you do as a consultant. You work with different clients, helping them to solve problems, and you can offer specialized services. You can be like, look, I'm just offering media relations. I'm offering comm strategy and execution. I'm going to focus on social media. So it really depends on you, but it can be as general as you want it or as specialist as you want it. When I was running my agency, we first started off with content. We were focusing on delivering content, and then we morphed into being a full service communications firm, communications consulting firm, where we were handling end-to-end communications for our clients. That involved campaign management, that involved events, a lot of things, very, very exciting clients. There was personal branding. There was a lot that came with that, but that's what we did. Now, the second thing is a consultant is someone that has expertise in key areas of communications. Now, I started off the agency creating content, and that's from my background as a writer. I love writing, love creating content. But soon enough, people wanted more. People didn't just want someone to create content, they wanted someone to do whole full service. And I knew how to do it. So it wasn't like too difficult to expand. And that's what we did. But over the years, right now, where I am in my career as an advisor, my expertise areas lies in reputation management, communication strategy, leadership training, media training for senior executives and leaders, training of the comms teams and the employees. So I'm very, very sure about my expertise area, and I'd have to do a lot of working on myself because that's what's going to help me to deliver value to my clients. Number three is you're a solution provider and a trusted advisor. A communications professional, whether you work as a consultant or you're working 9 to 5, definitely you have to be a trusted advisor. But as a communications consultant, you are coming in literally to provide solutions. So think about McKinsey consultants, Deloitte consultants. When they are brought in, it is evident, or there's this expectation of, oh, they're coming to help us solve our problems. Whether that's true or is not true is maybe story for another day. But you really have to go with a solutions mindset. So you can't be the person that you just want to collect money, do the work and go. You should have that outlook of, this organization has engaged me. How do I help them to overcome or solve certain problems that they have from a communications perspective, using my expertise in communications, and leave the organization and my client better off? And I would really, really emphasize this because this is something that will stand you out. This communications consulting world, I found that anything goes. There really isn't a standard, and I'm speaking from an African perspective, to say, okay, these are the minimum requirements, this is the minimum you charge. There are people that I've heard how much they charge for certain things and the work that they did, oh my God. So people have been burnt by consultants. So you really, really want to position and brand yourself as someone who knows what they're doing and that you deliver results. And it's important for you to be a solution provider. And I guess that ties to number 4. You deliver the right result and the outcomes. So you really, really have to be about results, have to be about outcomes. And dare I say, this is key for you to get sustained and repeated clients. It's by your results that they will call you back, not by anything flashy. And especially now in in this financial and economic climate, right? So you really, really have to be clear on these 4 things. So let's talk about getting started. You have to be very clear on the kind of services that you want to offer. Do you want to be a generalist? So everything in the communications value chain, that's what you want to offer. You want to write press releases, you want to do media relations, you want to do training, you want to do comm strategy, you want to execute, you want to do PR campaigns. It's really up to you. Or do you say, you know what, I just want to specialize. I just want to be that person that does media relations and media training. For me, I specialize in strategy. I don't implement for clients. What I do is I come into your organization, I do your communications and brand audit, I sit with your team, create a strategy, a communication strategy that will work with you, and I empower your team to be able to implement. So that's why I said I am an advisor. So I work with them to be able to implement. And that's because over the years, I just realized I really enjoy creating the strategies. It's not like I didn't enjoy implementing, but as some of you that are already consultants will know, when it gets to implementation, they're slashing budget. It's just, yeah, so much stress. And then I also realized that I really do enjoy teaching. So I wanted to lean into that more. So I'm doing more training and capacity building. So it really just aligns with what I want. But you have to really, really decide and be clear on what you want. What kind of clients do you want to serve? Very, very important. You can't serve everybody, but who do you want to target? Organizations? What kind of organizations? Do you want to specialize in tech, for example? Do you want to work with executives? What do you want? And you have to, and this is why I said you have to really think about it, what really interests you, because honestly, being a consultant, people think it's, oh, you have your time to yourself, you're doing all these glamorous things, but in the early stages and at different phases of the journey, it can be very, very stretching and tedious. Like if your why is not very strong, if your why is money and for months you don't have a brief, you're going to like give up on it. So you have to be very, very clear, what kind of clients do you want to serve? Why do you want to serve them? So for me, I'm working with organizations, I'm working with executives, and I'm working with comms teams. And my why is I really want to see organizations do well. I really want to see them do better in terms of how they leverage communications to achieve their organizational objectives and outcomes. So I engage CEOs on leadership communication, media training, their comms team. I'm upskilling them to say, guys, you need to think about the bigger picture. Training the employees to say this is the value of communication, because in that way I'm also advocating as well for the profession. But you have to be clear of your own why and the kind of clients you serve. How do you intend to get these clients? And I'll talk more about this. What is your plan? Are you going to be pitching? How do you want to get the clients? Especially if you're just starting off, you really need to think about how you want to get the clients, because the truth is, when you're a consultant, your bills get paid from the briefs that you work on. And so effort needs to be made to get clients. will you work as a sole consultant or as a team? Now, there's no right or wrong answer with this. There are benefits and disadvantages to both sides. Having a team means that you have more people that you need to pay, or you can work. So, what I do now, for example, as an advisor, is if I get a brief that maybe it's really, really large, and the person really wants me to do it. So, for certain organizations, for example, maybe their headquarters is based in South Africa, they want to do something in Nigeria, and they're like, Adedoyin, please can you help us coordinate? And I collaborate with another colleague of mine, and we do it together. We share the proceeds together, and I deliver because the client trusts me. I've had the relationship with them. So you might be a sole consultant, but you know how to collaborate. And I really like the collaboration approach. I've collaborated with different professionals that we have like-minded values, and the results have been really, really great. Or you can decide, you know what, I'm going to work as a team. So that means you have to engage maybe your social media manager, maybe engage people on a part-time basis. But what that does for you is that you now have to be thinking of how you're going to be paying those people. So yeah, different concerns or different needs for those two buckets. The next is, how much expertise do you have? Very, very, very important. You could not have started your communications journey last year and already you want to be working as a consultant. It's almost like you're going to be shooting yourself in the foot. Take some time to learn and have expertise. One of the keys to success as a consultant is really, really being an expert, because that is what will enable you to deliver results. And then the final thing is, what financial value do you expect from this expertise? So you're an expert in comm strategy creation. How much do you want to be paid to develop strategy? Like I said before, there isn't currently like a benchmark to say, okay, a consultant of XYZ experience is how much you charge for strategies. People are charging, I just said, different figures. Building your brand as a consultant. Now, as a consultant, you really have to brand yourself, right? You want to think about, how do I want to put myself forward? Do I want to create a brand name? So you might say you want to set up a company, or even if, for example, I work as an advisor as Adedoyin Jaiyesimi, but I am well branded. I have my website, I have my profile, my extended profile that is nicely designed, my portfolio, which has, my body of work over the last 12 years is very, very, very professional. I have templates of some of all of these things that I learned over the years, contracts, everything professionally done. Invoice, I have a professional invoice template. I don't use invoicing apps yet, but some of you might decide, you know what, I'm going to use an invoicing app. But the point is, be as professional as possible, because that also, it impacts on perception, right? So build your brand and your portfolio. If you are just starting off, you need to get so I say, find a brief that allows you to showcase what you have done. So it might mean volunteering. It might mean you do certain kind of projects at, a considerable discount, so that at least you have it written on paper that you've done this thing. I leverage a lot of volunteering when I first started. I think my story is a bit different. So if you've read my book, when I started as a consultant, I started with a brief from one of the biggest banks in Nigeria. That's not everybody's story, but that was my story. That was how I started my consulting firm. I was freelancing. Remember, I told you I was a freelancer. I was freelancing before then, on and off, but that was the brief, and we had that brief for the entire duration of which I had that firm. And so for me, I didn't do, and this is what I would really be open with you about in terms of pitching for clients. I've not had to aggressively pitch for clients. God, I don't know how he does it. He brings the client. But what I make sure that I do is that I deliver, that the results are evident, and God blesses the work of my hands. But even in my own personal career, I've had to leverage volunteering to break into certain spaces. Even while running that agency, we realized that we wanted to pitch a personal brand service to female executives, and I had to volunteer in a particular network to expose us to that kind of client. So you have to really think strategically about that, right? And then your service brochure or rate card. I have a rate card currently that kind of just outlines how much certain things are, flat rates. We'll talk about pricing, but it kind of outlines the services that I offer. It outlines how much that I charge at a flat rate. The thing about working as a consultant is, a lot of times you can't have a one size fits all pricing, because somebody may be engaging you to do comm strategy, but then the comm strategy you would do for a startup will be very different from a comm strategy you would do for an organization that has maybe 10 branches across Africa. And so that's more intense. The work is more, yeah, is bigger. And you have to think about those factors. Okay, so the next thing is your proposal and your pitch. Now, there are certain things where someone reaches out to me and says, okay, Adedoyin, we want to do media training for our CEOs, or we want you to help us do XYZ. Please send us a proposal. And so I have a deck ready, and the deck is really about, okay, this is the service I will offer, this is what I will do, the timeline, how much it will cost, and I include my own profile. So it's about 6 pages, nothing lengthy, because I don't like lengthy proposals, nothing lengthy, and I tweak it as per the brief that I receive, and I send it to them. I know a few people that have gone to like live pitches and all. I can't speak to that. It's not my lived experience, but that's also something you need to think about. How would you approach your pitches? What would you need? The documentation. The point is just be very prepared. Look, let me tell you something. Maybe it's another hack. This life as a consultant, you can have months where it seems like nothing is happening, like it's just dry. Then one phone call, one email changes everything, and you need to have everything ready. Okay, send me this, send me this, send me. And that conversation or that call, that email can meet you anywhere. You are in transit. This is real life stuff. So I'm always on the side of just be prepared. There's a quote that says, what's it? Is it success is when opportunity meets preparation? I hope I got that right. But anyway, there are opportunities there, but those opportunities must meet you prepared. So have all of these things ready. The other documentation, you will need contracts, and this will really depend. There are organizations I've engaged with where they will send me their own contracts. While certain organization, I have to send them my own contracts. And honestly, this is very, very, very important. When you first start, it feels like, oh, I'm so privileged to have these clients, everything is happening, but it gets real. Like sometimes somebody's engaging you for 2 months, and then you begin to have what's called scope creep. They said, oh, we want you to come in to manage our social media for 1 month, manage LinkedIn. The next thing, somewhere down the line, they're training Instagram. Somewhere down the line, they're saying, oh, please can you help us write articles for our CEO? And they're not paying you more money. So it needs to be clear. So I have a scope of work document that I send to my clients. This is what this engagement of this amount covers. Should in case you want to add other things, it is going to come at an additional cost. Even social media, you may need to be clear. How many posts are you putting in? So again, these things I can't really talk about specifics because it's really, really differs. But you have to be very, very, very clear. The organizations that take advantage of consultants, that when the money comes in and the work you've done, you're just going to be like, but because of the benefit of hindsight for me, I've been able to like put things in place, which is what I'm sharing with you. So having that scope of work, be clear, and have contracts, have things properly documented. I always used to say to my team, even if you have a conversation with this person, document it in an email, because when things hit the roof, it's going to be your word against their word, right? And clients can be interested. Anyway, moving on from that, your results and your output. You want to be known as somebody that delivers. And I think that's something that God has really favored me with in terms of the results. Those of you who already know me, I pray about everything. I seek the face of God and just make sure that I'm committed to excellence. I'm committed to delivering results. I'm just asking God to illuminate my mind, give me the ideas, give me the strategies that will really help the organization. And I'm professional in everything that I do. And that in itself helps me to stand out. So you really, really take some time to think about your brand as a consultant. So I mean, I'd already started talking to you about getting clients. Do you want to pitch? Do you want to cold call? So cold call is send random emails, send your and a lot of people do this. I hear that it works. Again, I haven't done it. I don't know. I won't say it's bad. Maybe just me. I just have reservations about it. I would rather that, for example, you see an organization, maybe you notice something about Coca-Cola, and then you go and pitch to them to say, look, we can do this for you. And I've seen people that have done that successfully, but that's speaking to something specific that you can see that you would like to offer. But just out of the blue and you don't know, well, if you feel led to do it, I'm not even going to knock it off. But for me, I don't do it. I've never done cold calling. But I know pitching does work, but it just means being intentional, leveraging your social media platforms. One of the things that I've done that has really worked is just really, really just what I was saying about personal branding, my LinkedIn, my website, even my Instagram. Our first international client, yeah, we did have international clients at the communications firm. He found us through Instagram. Like, in fact, I even thought it was a scam. And because I was like, how now? What are the odds? Not even LinkedIn, but he found us through Instagram, through our content. And he was a client also for about 2 years and still interact with him. So it's really about how do you position yourself as a consultant, leverage LinkedIn. I've gotten briefs from LinkedIn. I've gotten opportunities. There are always RFPs going. So for me, depending on who you follow on LinkedIn, I'm always seeing requests for proposals. I look at it, okay, this interests me, this doesn't interest me. So that's how I, make sure that I'm at least opening myself up to clients. But honestly, majority of my clients come through recommendation, and that in itself for me is it's I don't even take it lightly, because for somebody to recommend you, they trust in your ability, they trust in you being able to deliver, which is why I will keep emphasizing: be professional, deliver results, be a true expert that is committed to excellence, and by the grace of God, you won't struggle with getting clients once you're clear on what services you want to offer, the price range. What I would just say is being deliberate about going into the circles where your target audience is. So if you want to, for example, maybe development agencies or development organizations, you want to be a comms consultant for development organizations when they're having like their development sector conferences, summits, try and attend networking. Yeah, networking really does work. So go to those conferences, network with them, be present, put out content on your LinkedIn that speaks to those things. So being deliberate. So you can't. So again, when I say that I don't pitch and clients come to me, I don't want you to think that they don't just sleep in and then that's it. No, I'm actually working. My YouTube content, that's also a way that I'm putting out my expertise, so people can see that, oh, this lady, I love the way she thinks, I love her mind. I'm going for the right events, I'm leveraging my LinkedIn a lot. So really have that strategy for getting clients. The next thing is pricing. What will you charge for your services? Will you charge a lump figure? Will you charge a per day rate, or you will charge per hour rate? So let me talk you through this. Now, because almost like anything goes, honestly, I can't tell you that this is the best way, this is not the best way. I can only show you what I have seen that works for me after years of, see, I really undercharged. And this is me that delivers results. I really, really, really undercharged. And in fact, I had to go for coaching on my what was that coaching on? My relationship with money. Because, in my mind, I just thought I can't be asking for this amount of money. But I just realized that I had this limiting belief about money. So I went for coaching for that, learning how to negotiate and all of that, because it will really affect you as a consultant. There's so much that you can earn, but that can be limited by your ability to negotiate, can be limited by your own limiting beliefs about money, about what you can potentially charge for certain things. So this is an example of like a lump sum type of thing where, okay, this is what the person wants. They want a brand audit. They want to do a brand audit. So these are your deliverables. So this is how I think about it. When they come with the brief, I look at the brief, I break it down and say, okay, from this brief, this is what I would deliver. So brand audit report, strategy and tactical plan, brand story framework, implementation training, implementation templates for the team. And I say, okay, guys, all of this is going to cost $2,000. Now, the truth is, how do you know how to charge for this? Like I said, there is no benchmark. I really leverage speaking to my friends, my professional colleagues, those that I really trust, because they're the ones that say, eh. So you need people like that, just speaking to people to say, how much do you think this is worth? How much do you charge? I know we're very, very, very secretive about how much we charge for things as consultants or how much we earn, but I really don't think it should be the case. I hope it changes one day. I don't know. So this is the second one, and this is the model that I use. I break it into the number of days I'll be working, either a daily rate or hourly rate, and I try to like put a figure around that. And I learned that while I was in doing my master's at IE Business School. It really does help me to benchmark in that way. So same set of deliverables. So brand audit report. So to do the audit itself and do the report, 8 days. You say you have a daily rate or $100. Sometimes I do per hour rates depending on what the project is or what the brief is, and then the total cost would be, $800 for the 8 days. Com strategy 12. You know, brand story framework, you can say, okay, I do a flat rate, 400. Okay, these two I'm going to do complimentary, and it comes to 2,400. How do you decide what your daily rate should be or hourly rate should be? How I have wrapped my head around it is to say, look, this is the value that I'm delivering. How much do I want this value to bring back to me? And then I've also benchmarked as well. And like I said, I speak to other colleagues. I've also benchmarked with, okay, if this person is earning this and we have the same level of experience and we deliver the same level of results, I do that sometimes in certain RFPs, for example, because now I've been exposed to international organizations. I know how much certain organizations pay for certain things per hour, or even like for the entire engagement. So I use all of that. I factor that into my service fee. So things to note on pricing: do your research and create a proper pricing benchmark. Speak to as many people as possible. Factor in third-party costs into your pricing. I had to learn this thing firsthand. So somebody comes with you with a brief, oh, I want you to manage comms for this conference, and you're so excited. You charge this amount that you think, this is a great amount. Then you realize from that amount, you're paying photographer. From that amount, you're going to pay your social media person. From that amount, you're going to pay for one tool, for that. And then the profits, by the time you remove the profits, oh, it is, yeah. And another thing I should also say with regards to pricing, how I also wrap my head around it, because if you really want to think about, okay, how much should I be charging? If you think about your monthly costs, so think about your rent, split your rent into monthly. So because in Nigeria we pay month for a year, so every month, what does your rent really come to, your data costs, all of those? Because if you were a business, you have to remove all of those things from your revenue to get profit, right? So think about those costs and then remove it and say to yourself, okay, how much needs to be coming in every month? So if you do the math and you say, I need to be earning $1,500 every month, ask yourself, do you want to make that from one brief? It's possible to make it from one brief. Or do you want to make it from 5 briefs? Or do you want to make it from 10 briefs? Do 10 $150 briefs. I've been there at that 10 $150 brief. Is it's hard, not impossible, but it means that you're stretching yourself too thin. But at the beginning, you may need to do that because you're still developing yourself, your credibility, your expertise. But my advice to you is, and which is what I have done, to optimize to a point where one brief I can get $1,000. I was very deliberate about optimizing myself. It takes time. There were months where I soaked Gary. For those who don't know, Gary is a staple food. There were months that there were no clients, but I think by the grace of God, I'm seeing the results gradually. So maybe that's another thing that I should say, is that if you really feel like consulting is for you, you need to take a long-term perspective. It's not something that you just do today and you'll blow. You can literally get a brief now that brings in $5,000, and you may not see that kind of brief again in the next 1 year. So you have to think about it holistically. You have to be doing it for the right reasons. Understand the payment terms and conditions of the client you work with, because I've worked with organizations across board. Some organizations will say they pay you after 30 days, some organizations. So personally, what I do is usually I like to collect my money upfront, 100%. I don't like stories. I have heard stories that touched, and it's not funny. But I realize also for the organization is also risky. So I try to meet people at the middle. Depending on the organization, on how things are going with negotiation, I do 75% upfront and then they pay me the balance, or at the very minimum, I collect half of it upfront and half of it at the end. If I absolutely trust that organization, then I can do, okay, pay me after the deliverables. But I reserve that for very, it's either it's an international organization that they are credible, but even those ones self, I don't, because people that owe me balance in this life, if they pay me that balance for my birthday in December, I'm sure I can go on vacation. But anyway, we'll let that go. But the point is, know their payment terms and conditions before you sign it, so that you're not taken by surprise and have your own terms and conditions. Now, the more expertise you have and the longer you've done this, I think the more your negotiating power is. So it's almost like I have more, what's the word? I have more leverage, yes, while negotiating that I didn't have in the early years because I was just starting. I really needed this client. I really needed the money. But now it's not like I don't need the money, but it's not a do or die for me. So that gives me a certain set of leverage when I'm negotiating. Don't be greedy, but charge what you believe is your value. Like I said, the world of consulting can be interesting, but a lot of people have abused it, overcharging and not delivering. So really find a good point where you're getting what you believe is your value, but don't be greedy. Master the art of negotiation. For me, that took me reading books, speaking to people, watching videos. I knew I had to learn it, and it's really, really helpful. You can't be uncomfortable with negotiating. You can't be, people say, "Oh, I don't want to chase them away," which is going to the next point. Know when to walk away because you're bringing value. And let me tell you something, as a consultant, by the time you sign that contract and you start working with that client, the work is going to be even much bigger than what it is that they have told you is the work. I've seen this thing happen too many times. And that's why you have to also factor in scope creep into your pricing, because something somehow is going to be much bigger, not because the client is trying to be fraudulent, but they don't even understand the depth of the problem because they're not experts at what you do. You as an expert, you will now come in and be like, oh my God, this is a lot of work. I'm sharing as openly as possible so that you know the things to think about, the blind spots, the things that people don't necessarily share about, so that you factor that into, your pricing and what it is that you are offering. So just some final tips to wrap up. Begin on a professional note. It doesn't matter if you're just starting with only you, just be very, very professional. Have a professional outlook. Your LinkedIn, is it, do I go there? Do I have a sense that, this person is really, really good at what they do? How do you demonstrate your expertise? You also have to network with other consultants, ask questions and learn from them. Even if you find consultants that they are not answering you, they are not giving information, there are others that will, because look, the more we can help each other, the higher we'll be able to command in terms of our pricing and all of that. So network with others, learn from them, continue to develop yourself and hone your skills. And I've said it a number of times that I really do believe that professional confidence comes with your knowledge and how you build yourself. I have done a master's degree. I've continued working on my CPD. I recently just did a certification, which I'll probably share in a few weeks. But I continue to build and develop myself so that the results that I get are exceptional. Please invest in yourself. Very, very, very important if you want to succeed as a consultant. If you want to specialize in a specific industry, I would still recommend read widely, read broadly, understand organizations, understand how business leaders think, understand executives, be able to speak their language, be comfortable speaking to CEOs, be comfortable speaking to executives, because as you rise higher as a consultant, you're going to be dealing with CEOs. So you have to be comfortable around them. You have to be able to speak the language that they speak. You can't be nervous. You'll be like, what kind of consultant? As a consultant, you have to really command that. And that comes from your expertise. It comes from your knowledge. It comes from you knowing that I deliver results, and you have to work on yourself. Avoid the urge to promise what you cannot deliver, please and please. In fact, one of the professional code of conduct for the IABC is do not guarantee results. Don't overpromise. I'm very, very, very clear, measured expectations, right? Don't go and say, oh, we'll feature you on Forbes, on this, on that, on things that you can't guarantee. Oh, don't worry, we're going to take this and we're going to ensure that you're going to 200% of your sales are going to increase. You're just shooting yourself in the foot. So don't promise what you cannot deliver. Be true to your ability. Can I really do this? And sometimes people will say, oh, say yes first and figure out how you will do it. I don't subscribe to that. Me, when they bring the brief, if it's something that looks interesting to me, and maybe, for example, 60% of the thing I have the expertise in, is either I am going to go and find my friend that has the remaining 40% and we collaborate to do it, or I pass. This for Adedoyin, peace of mind is very it's very important to me. I don't take any brief that I'm not confident that I can deliver on the results. It's not even worth my time. Pay attention to your credibility and your ethics. So part of not overpromising is your credibility. You want to deliver. You know how they say what I ordered versus what I got for Nigerians. You want to be the person that I love to over deliver, and that's what I do. I make sure that I over deliver, even what they have not expected me to do, what was not even I deliver it because that's me. I want to give excess value, and I believe that God has used that as one of the reasons people keep coming to me because they know that they will get much more than they even paid for. And your ethics, please stand by what you say. Be ethical in what you do. Don't overinflate your invoices. Just be a professional that is ethical. It's so, so, so important. Embrace your process. I think this is very important, especially when you want to start out. When people have conversations with me and they're hearing how much I'm charging, I remind them, please, oh, I'm in year 12. While I'm not saying that you have to wait 12 years to earn what I'm earning, you have to give yourself room to grow. You have to give yourself room to fail. In fact, those briefs where I was underpaid, those briefs where I even made mistakes, it gave me room to learn. It gave me room to grow. And they've given me insights and knowledge that I'm using now. I will not trade them for anything because it's part of my process and part of my journey. So embrace your process. Don't be too quick to want to blow, to want to make it big, which is why for me, money cannot just be your motivating factor. There has to be something deeper, and that keeps you going. You commit to your process, and your process keeps you going in the times where maybe for months nothing is coming in. Because sometimes, if you speak to any consultant, I will be real with you. There are months like that that are just like they're just dry, and do it because you love it. I love what I do. I could do it all day. The training that I had with the 5-day training that I had with the comms team, it was absolutely stretching. I got back from my house and I just on day 5 and I wanted to sleep, but I would do it over and over again. I would do it for 2 weeks, I would do it for 3 weeks. Why? Because I love what I do. And finally, it's not a tip, it's not, and I'm sure you expect this by now. I also honor the place of God in my journey, in the work that I do as a consultant. 2021, and I'll be very honest and vulnerable here. 2020, 2021, 2022. I don't if I'm not exaggerating, I don't think I earned up to 400, the equivalent of $400 as a consultant. And it wasn't even because briefs were not coming, no, briefs were coming, but I would just hear the Holy Spirit say, refer this to this person. And God was also taking me on my own personal journey because I had a very unhealthy relationship with money. I had this hustle spirit, but it was really, really, really tough. I know what it feels to have bills to pay, and it's like, God, but I have skills now. I'm using my skills. I'm really, really trying. Bless the work of my hands, or you're not getting clients. But please don't be discouraged. I've seen God show up in many ways. There was a time, it was last year, I was about to get on a plane and I saw a request for media training and I put it in. I didn't even know I would get picked for it because it was for a multinational and I got picked for it. I was like, oh my God. I got it and delivered. Obviously, again, because I'm talking about delivery, you don't collect the money and you don't do the work. But I've seen God just come through for me in so many ways that right now I have peace over my work as a consultant, or an advisor rather. I have peace over it. And yeah, I've just learned to just trust God, pray for favor. I pray over, what it is that I want to see. But more importantly, I'm saying, God, all the things that you have reserved for me, the blessings, the open doors, please open my eyes to see them. And I just walk with the Lord. So I pray that, even in your journey as a consultant, may God cause you to be favored. May He cause kings to come to the brightness of your rising. And I pray that you will find clarity as well, that you would also be able to go through your own process with grace, in the mighty name of Jesus. So I really do hope that this was helpful. If you have any questions or you would like to learn more, obviously I couldn't go into so much detail because honestly there's so many moving parts. But if you have like specific questions, I'm always happy to answer. You can put them here on YouTube in the chat. You can send me a DM on LinkedIn. You can send me an email. And as much and as best as I can, I would definitely always love to help. Thank you for watching. Bye.